Introducing Dr. Jenny Markey. Jennifer is our guest lecturer for this evening, has prepared a slideshow. Thank you for being here, Jenny. Go ahead, please.
Well, thanks, Dan. That really got us in the mood there. Building the charge. Thank you. And thanks for inviting me again. You know, it's been a whole year since the last, since we first started this adventure, particularly. But and I've been listening to you for over 30 years. So, and I still soak it in, you know, soak it in.
I'm not that old, I didn't think, but anyway.
Oh, we are getting older.
ABN.
Yes. So, yes. Hi, everyone. Very happy to be here again. I'm going to go start sharing the screen straight away because we've got quite a bit to quite a bit to get through. Now, what I thought I'd do was certainly to look at, hold on a second, I'm trying to find the slideshow. We're going to have a bit of background because any new people coming in from that didn't see last year's.
Yeah, we're seeing your slides fine. We can see them.
Yes.
It's good.
Yes, but I want the main one. I want the actual slideshow itself.
Well, if you click that button on the bottom right to the right there. To the right of comments. There's
no,
it's there. One more there. That one. Okay. That one. That should do it. Yep, there it did.
Thank you very much. So welcome everyone. What we're going to do is a short run through. Well, basically this is in 3 parts. So we'll do a short run through of the history, and this is a slightly different history than the one that Dan has just been describing. Then we'll do some updates as to what it actually means, the mechanics of lucid dreaming, and then we'll move into the practice, followed by questions. So if you can hold questions and obviously put them on the chat, and Tufan will be able to assist us with those a bit later. And also, Dan, you know, if you feel to come in, then please do. Right, I'm now trying to get us out the way so that I can actually read. And there we are. Okay, so this is the broad story of lucid dreaming, because we're all descended from dreaming peoples. Every civilization has cosmologies of their ancestors who came from the stars and dreamed new cultures into being. Wait a minute, I'm just trying to find myself. Since the dawn of human time on this planet, lucid dreaming has been an essential part of healthy, functioning individuals and societies. And those societies rely on dreamers who can see beyond the limitations of physical reality, hear the collective wisdom of the ancestors, and translate that knowledge in daily life. Those who can hold and tell the stories, sing the songs and dance the dances that bring the dreaming of living on this earth to life are the generators of culture.
That's beautiful, beautiful. So well said.
So I can know where I'm going. So this, so this is a bit of a disclaimer because the type of lucid dreaming generally described as a hypnagogic state is just the beginning of a journey to awaken yourself while both sleeping and daydreaming as well. It's what I call the superconscious state, whereby you are utilizing far more than the typical 4% of your brain, where your natural latent capacities emerge, and your dreaming becomes your life. And that's the type of lucid dreaming described in this presentation, because I'm very fortunate to have been educated and certainly well practiced with Aboriginal aunties.
I love that, Aboriginal aunties.
Yes. So imagineering, in the ancient past, lucid dreamers were those who were able to access past, present, future knowledge, although we know it's all in the present, through their night and day dreaming. They recorded information on the local seasons, the lunar and solar cycles, when to sow and harvest crops, hunting seasons and migration tracks, times of catastrophe and lack, and times of increase and bounty. They remember the times of eclipse, lunar standstill, and the long count of the precessional cycles, recording them in the stonescapes of chambers and henges and in petroglyphs and other rock art.
Beautiful.
And this is Callanish in Scotland, a major astronomical observatory.
And clearly a longitudinal node.
Yes, definitely. Yes, and surrounded by sites within a 5-kilometer radius. So it's an extended site. Wait a second. So my ancestors of Ireland and Scotland dreamed the extensive megalithic sites that connected them to the cosmos through lunar, solar, and galactic cycles. The sophisticated sacred geometry and mathematical calculations used in both the construction of the monuments and the recorded information reveal minds attuned to the measured rhythms of the cosmic matrix. The common myth of primitive Neolithic tribal societies is obviously incorrect. They possess many skills and capacities that modern society has lost, including the lucid dreaming. So other examples of dreaming cosmologies include the Slavonic Aryan knowledge, recording the 9 worlds of Norse mythology, wrapped in Yggdrasil, the sacred world tree. The realms are connected by the Bifrost, which we know as star lanes, and the roots are portals, wells that connect to other locations out in the cosmic matrix. In Vedic Hindu cosmology, records multiple worlds suspended in the causal medium of the great ocean amongst countless other universes.
Beautiful.
Now, this is my adoptive home country, and Dan's as well, and Valerie's. These are the First Nation peoples of Australia, who are custodians of the lands, waters, and skies of Narrabul Gidabal country. This is at the most easterly point of Australia, right where the rising sun infuses Wallumbini, the peak that you can see in the background, remnant peak of a 20 million year ancient supervolcanic caldera, charging the dreaming tracks across the longest stretch of songlines in the country. And at this point, I wish to pay our respects to the senior law women of the Narrabul Gidabal clans, whose lands, whose sovereignty has never been ceded.
Often a supervolcano will have the residue of the powerful trace mineral that makes the land more fractal and more magnetic, as, for example, the sacred rose fractality of Prague. So the supervolcanic caldera is a great start for something very magical.
Yes, and as you can see, there's the very fractal nature. So in the foreground down there is the Julian Rocks, where Auntie Lorraine came to rest with her soul.
Oh, yes, and where the storm went across the continent when she died.
That's it, yes, across the
Wow.
dreaming tracks. Behind that is the 3 pyramids. You can't see the third one, very much set on Giza, the 60-degree pyramid complex at Giza. And behind that is the actual caldera and Wallumbini itself. So very fractal landscape.
Oh, yeah.
So these are the original lucid dreamers.
Dreaming tracks. Wow.
So that's a very short and rapid history. So we'll go into part 2, which is how the cosmic matrix, how the unified field communicates with us and within us, as we know as lucid dreamers, and as we've just seen in the history. Let's look at some of the mechanics, and please come in, Dan, if you wish to as well. So our mythologies ground our genetic memory through this planet, solar system and galaxy, and that's nested within the larger star-seeding cosmologies. They record how we are connected to multiple realms and worlds, orienting us in the present mythscape. Now, let's consider some of the mechanics of how we dream in the unified field. The Hermetic maxims of know thyself and that which is above is like to that which is below. Describe the connections at microcosmic and macrocosmic levels of human function. So here we're going to bring in Dan, and perhaps you can say a bit about this as well. Dan, clarifying, because we're looking at what the qualities of the universal energy, and I've put in what we know as ether, plasma, or you call charge, Dan. So these qualities are compressible, behave like a fluid, it stores inertia when it rotates, and in certain geometries, fractal, conjugate, etc., it appears to self-organize and become intelligent and alive. Would you like to add to that, Dan?
You did so well. I'm retiring here, Jenny.
Are you?
But I just wanted to say that the as above, so below is how we sort of started when I rewrote the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the fractality of the heavens. And so the compression of the star geometries that then compress themselves in the Earth grid geometry and then compress themselves inside the magnetic flux inside our brain, that fractality enables the compression, which gives us leverage on the field around us. So you can measure how psychoactive you are in the dreaming or as a witch, literally by how, compressible your field is. As they say, the mind meld with the Orion Queen felt like a vice-like grip around your head because you became the center of a very centripetal tornado. And that's really the trigger for when the dream is lucid.
1 minute. Oh, why is that not happening? Okay. So in a macrocosmic sense, what we're doing is tracking from the very large stories, the cosmological stories, and now we're bringing it down. And through a part of that, the medium of what we might call plasma or charge, is recorded through the original dreamers in Australia, who recorded the passage of plasma superstorms, which are sentient plasmoid ancestor beings, and other phenomena in their petroglyphs and rock art. Our ancestors recorded images of external phenomena and events, and they also laid down images in our consciousness in order to navigate the evolution of our human bodies. Now, that might seem a complicated concept, but it's as if they were, by recording the events and images themselves, they were actually putting it into their own consciousness, which then obviously descends through each of the generations. Maybe
it reminds me of John McGovern, Jenny and both our friend, who believed that he could interpret any cave art painting by learning plasma physics, and the plasma beings became self-aware and they painted them. Yes, this slide exactly. Tony.
Yes, absolutely perfect timing. So yes. The Wandjina ancestors on the left, and you can see that they're quite clearly painting the plasma crown formations after Tony Perrat.
Tony Perrat of Los Alamos Plasma Research. Plasma physics equals ancestral shaman drawings because that was their mind, that was their vision. They saw life.
Mm-hmm. And these plasmoids are recorded all throughout the world, in many indigenous or those who are still have petroglyphs and rock art.
Beautiful,
including the Celts. So you can see the plasmoid on the right-hand side, and obviously the rock art of it called the Squatting Man petroglyphs, and the material culture of numerous First Nations societies globally hold the records of that. So this is principally for the reference, but also to look at the shapes, because this is the recorded currents and in the torus and the plasmoid. So I've got references a bit later you can look at.
They said how high that the dots were around the waist allowed you to tell at what latitude, longitude the shaman was looking at the plasma from.
That's interesting. Yes, fascinating. So let's bring it right down into the human body now. So the microcosm, connecting the electrical human self to the cosmos. So on the left is a dissection of the nervous system of the human body. And you can see the intimations of, or the dendritic style nerve bundles and fibers, looking very much like a tree. On the right hand side is Alex Gray with the with his very famous painting of spiritual energy system, and the torus that emerges from a lucid dreaming body. So we'll very briefly go into Heinrich the Kluwer constants, because there's something about the records within the consciousness, and as Dan was saying, within the visual system of the human. These are visual phenomena seen behind closed eyes in a sequence during altered states of consciousness, including going into lucid dreaming, however less so, more in when we are using altered states and entheogenic plant forms to assist us. So he called these the form constants, and they consist of lattices, cobwebs, tunnels, and spirals. And these form constants are markers in human neurobiological makeup. They're literally hardwired into our brains, that both lead us through each successive stage of altered consciousness, enabling path integration on our dreaming journeys, like a trail of breadcrumbs through a deep, dark forest, and so that we can return safely. Universal symbolism evolved from these visual phenomena witnessed in the dreaming or recorded from physical events. And I would argue that iconographic and symbolic art acts as mnemonic technology, which is like a memory type of technology hardwired into the brain to reflect and trigger the remembrance of past events, as recorded on petroglyphs, particularly.
We thought Heinrich Kluwer, he was recording the experiences of near-death experiences also, and that lattice cobweb tunnel spiral were literally superposed axes of spin, one upon the other, what your DNA had to do to get compression going to die well or to lucid dream.
Mm-hmm. So petroglyphs and other rock art of our dreaming ancestors also record natural processes of our physical and energetic interconnections with the universal field. So on the left is the Triskelion. On the right is a diagram of a protein, the protein clathrin. Now these are different variations of the Triskelion through history, recorded in rock art, particularly in Celtic lands. Now, sorry about the image on the top. This gives a very brief introduction. Clathrins are proteins that enable the transportation and delivery of information into the cells of the body. While current debate rages about microtubules and consciousness, our ancestors had already dreamed about and recorded the mechanics of interconnectivity at the cellular interface.
Beautiful. And the clathrate cage in water, for example, or even fullerenes, is always that stellated dodecacosa imploding.
Yes, and I think that, yes, the point here is that by them going into dreaming lucidly and then bringing it back out and obviously recording it for us, when we come upon it, whether it's analytical or the analogical brain, it takes us back into ourselves. So it's a type of inner remembering, is it not?
Beautiful.
So I hypothesize that because the more that we're understanding, the more that we're understanding about toroidal fields, and we're seeing them everywhere. This is also symbols that are part of the neurobiology of humankind, and of the torus and the toroidal fields. And as we cross the Planck threshold and remember who we are in the wider array, it's literally, these are the symbols and the iconography, the form constants that we need that are leading us out into the wider array.
So we implode through the Planck threshold, where presumably the transverse EMF becomes longitudinal and therefore able to propagate efficiently into the array. So the Planck threshold is kind of a doorway in this sense. Definitely
a doorway, yes. So that's a brief tour of the mechanics. Well, now get on to part 3, which is what does it mean practically speaking to be a shareable wave as a lucid dreamer? And we're getting more into the practice of the dreaming groups that we've been a part of. And this wonderful Walter Russell quote. So I put out a tentative definition, but I'm open to discussing that. So lucid dreamers are those who are able to tap into and transduce the knowledge of the universal field, stepping down those forces to energies that are recognizable within human perception and that are in phase with the natural dreaming stories of the planetary being. And finally, lucid dreamers tell those stories through culture, the arts and sciences, literally perpetuating life.
I love the in phase part of that story. You know, in phase is the name of what's happening to become part of a longitudinal array, and in phase is the name of what's happening when you have access to ground, literally Schumann harmonics and Earth and fractality. So in phase is everything because that locks you, embeds you into the array. It's a good term there.
Mm-hmm. So, what does it mean? How do we become lucid dreamers? So, different subsections here. So we'll talk about generally about gathering and generating and holding charge, because as we need to, if you like, toughen up our bodies and energetically and physically as well, the nervous systems, in order to be able to hold more charge. What do we do in order to help with that on a daily basis? Now, obviously, Dan teaches a whole, what would we even call it? A lifestyle of being outside, being in natural places, living a healthy lifestyle, including thoughts, integrity. I've got all sorts of wonderful things here. Hang on a sec. I'm just got to. So learning to be shareable waves is a development of qualities, skills, gifts, and talents. And as you can see, there are quite a few. The will and courage to see and dream, because once you look inside and open your eyes, both inner and outer, there really is no going back from that. The only way is onwards. The ability to focus and hold attention. This is obviously part of the physics as well as the natural biological fitness training that we're doing. The ability to generate, gather, and hold charge. So being generators of charge and not parasitic. Freeing ourselves from fear programs and patterns, because we all have a lot of patterns. And being able to be willing to move through those, even to recognize them and release them if necessary. Developing intentionality, integrity, good energetic hygiene, and self-responsibility are but a few of those. Being willing to suspend beliefs about what is real and unreal, because everything that you may think that you know about lucid dreaming and what I call true dreaming is when which is when we start creating the dreaming ourselves. We need to suspend belief. Balance, coherence, centeredness, groundedness, which is all once again part of self-management, and gaining self-understanding, compassion for self and collectively. Lots of qualities, big list there. And if that wasn't enough, we've also got mindful, cooperative, interdependent, being prepared to be vulnerable, permeable, and open to others, and practicing what we practice, preparing to become ultimately shareable in the wider array in every aspect of our lives.
So when we say shareable, what we mean is a wave that can propagate because it's so well in phase that there's no resistance. Fear is the mind killer because it is resistance. I also love Jenny's yearning is the wave guide. Yearning is also in some way how the tornado is ultimately steered, and why we might admire people like Jenny, because you got a group that's lucid dreaming together. So now you've got a collective tornado. And how is that steered? Gurdjieff said, charge the battery of yearning, even though the Buddha said, eliminate desire.
Eliminate, yes, good one. So this is it in pictorial form. Well, first of all, we hold the intention. We find the intention in our dreaming. We go into dream time, as in sleep dreaming time, with the question, what do we want to see? we ask questions, and then we sit. When we get the answers, we sit up, write them in journals. We meditate on it. We use a good time of the night is between 2 and 3 a.m. when there is the peak of melatonin, to actually go into the lucid dream itself. So then it becomes an action, and a practice, and then a consistency, a habit, if you like, and then it simply becomes who we are, which is what the aspect of lucid dreaming that I'm talking about, and that we are dedicatedly focused on.
I had heard that 2 to 3 a.m. might also be when there's least noise in the astral or something like that.
Mm-hmm. And we also we synchronize daily at sunset, or sunrise for some and sunset for others. Various natural times when it's easier to slip into a lucid dream. So,
and sunrise and sunset are specifically when the longitudinal array is accessible, when the birds sing and when Agnihotra works. That's a longitudinal moment. Perfect.
So all of this is, I'll say, mainstream. There's also the sense with Dan leading us to the threshold, and very elegantly handing us over into the wider array, that we're dreaming of the torus, and we're dreaming of toroidal fields. We've got people like Buddy James, who are actually mapping now. So to be able to navigate these wider arrays, it takes courage, and amazingly, we find that one matrix is nested within the other, and I guess it goes on, ad infinitum, as we'll continue to explore. So navigating the plasma field, we are spatial beings. Effective navigation in wider fields requires us to build up a cognitive map of what we're engaging in, as in putting out, setting our intention, who we are engaging with, being very clear that we don't now engage with the astral realms and astral beings. We don't need to do that. The mechanics of voyaging, and most importantly, how to self-reference well enough to return to our physical bodies intact in mind, body, and soul, which we call path navigation. So, do you want to talk about the toroids? Mate, this is one of Tufan's amazing diagrams.
Yes, and we say embeddability, and the ability to embed means that then that's what enables the shaman to steer the tornado in the first place. He's identified the pain of the tornado, embedded in them. By literally feeling compassion, the heart turns inside out, becomes centripetal, and then the bioplasmic streamers of the shaman suddenly are in the center of that tornado, and it's literally the tornado falls in love with who falls in love with whom. It's literally about embedding.
And of course, it can be both at an individual level and a group level, as we are doing. Which is being shareable enough and coherent enough to create a collective tornado in which we do, within which we journey, and without which we journey as well.
So they say the lucid dream group would first begin by crying for each other's joy and pain and embedding each other, and then
yes, it certainly it's very intimate in that way. Hold on a second. I'm trying to find where's my cursor? So this is actually in Byron Bay, in the lands, waters, and skies that I showed you. And this to me is indicative what it means to actually surf the wave, because as a group we sync and set our intention very clearly, and then we're literally like surfers, waiting for the wave to come through. And obviously that wave we feel the Schumann resonance. The longitudinal wave is the very long wave. It is very much like surfing in the ocean, and it is the cosmic ocean. I'm just going to play this again because I love it so much. See the dolphins there? And that I don't know if anyone else can feel it, but it gets me every time. It's like I'm up and surfing. Um,
Uncle Joe said, "Ride the long wave, Uncle Joe,
yes,
surfers of the Shibuya."
and it really does feel like that. So what I was speaking about, path integration. So in order to be able to come back, in order to go out, I mean, I would say many people are able to get out into the wider array. It's whether or not how you navigate and to be able to return on the same path so that you are not subjecting yourself to either any kind of astral parasites, Klingons, gremlins, whatever you want to call them, hungry ghosts. And a part of that is developing the fitness to be able to see what's going on inside your own head and your own body, as well as being able to navigate externally. So this is a part of what we practice every week, is navigation skills.
Part of why non-destructive self-reentry by some is a definition of consciousness, the ability to implode within and therefore gain leverage.
Mm-hmm. Yes, gaining leverage. So what works? What we found in the last year of great adventures that we've been having, there are certain principles. The basics. Well, one is providing our biology with a reason to evolve. Now that sounds very simple. However, we are brought up in a society whereby you work all day and you come home and you just zone out, and then you go to bed and you zone out again. So actually, the physical practice of letting your body and brain and consciousness know that actually you need to evolve. That's the tricky one. Now, sadly and interestingly, obviously with the recent COVID pandemic, that provided us, I feel, with our biology, our bodies, with a reason to evolve. It was like a trigger. Do you want to say anything more on that, Dan?
Well, that's giving us, because once we understand that the coherence we develop with the skill of lucid dreaming is specifically predicting who is going to take memory through death, leading beautifully to Jenny's next point, study the mechanics of ensoulment. And I am big on that actually that compression event, whether it's glands or in the DNA, that implosion spits out the coherent longitudinal stuff, the Ba from the Ka, the Keshan light body. And that literally is going to be whether our kids have a soul, whether they get access to bliss experience. So understanding this in the context of mechanics of ensoulment, that is the heart of the matter, as our species on this planet is apparently rapidly losing ensoulment because our scientists don't know what that is.
Yeah. And particularly with the increase in technology and electrosmog and interference.
Exactly.
That's a whole other topic, is it not?
Exactly.
So we hone our focus on pure principle. Now, I say it in the sense of biophysical, which is bringing our attention both to internally to our heart space, and as a part of that heart resonance, and also has to be connected with the intention of the, let's call it the consciousness, the third eye, the internal mechanics of what it means to focus your attention. And part of that is the pure principle of our integrity.
When we talked about distilling the memories of your day, it's exactly distilling it into pure principle, and that wave can live forever.
Yes. Now, also courage. I need to say about courage, that to be prepared to prevail. So part of that, providing the biology, is having increasing our determination to evolve, to be able to dream obviously lucidly, and then to true dream, as in to become your own dream, to own your dream, and then to also bring that outside of yourself. So this is what, as Dan was saying, this is what we are doing for humanity, which is now we are all needing to dream the next level of dreaming for humanity. Big task, no pressure. However, it does take courage. Now, part of one of the other things that works is that we need to be able to respond. I'm talking about in the soul pod, respond to the responsibility for the whole pod. So that's not, it's on a daily basis. We're in contact. We, as I said, we synchronize daily and practice that coherence, getting to know each other, being prepared to support when one person is wobbly or extremely busy with external reality, whatever it is. It's to responsibility is what, to the ability to respond and to be prepared to become more shareable, because it is often very vulnerable, often confronting, and to be able to trust the others, your fellow pod members, that they're going to be there for you and have your back.
It's like also imagining what it would be to have a life in which you do not need secrets. We're evolving in a civilization where everything is about secrets, and yet immortality is precisely the life in which no secrets are possible. Ooh.
Yes, yes. And we're not talking about telepathy. This is about discernment, because telepathic. I find that we are all becoming more sensitive to be able to feel other people's feelings. And there's also, we're starting to have the intimation that the next planetary grid is actually that between human hearts. It's not necessarily, as well as what we call sacral sites where charge and intention has been gathered. It's also between us, and I do believe that we are at the forefront of the new science of consciousness, literally. So we're also doing it naturally, no enhancements. It's up to pod members about whether what means that they're using. However, when we come together, it is purely on our own natural abilities that are and should be second nature to us, should they not be. Okay, so this is just one of those cautionary, I won't read it all. I mean, Dan is particularly clear about what we might call astral hygiene, and especially when after we've been journeying together, we always come, when we return, we clear ground, check each other out, dust each other off, and make sure that we are clear in this way. So obviously things like smartphones and mobile phone signals, Wi-Fi, are not just distracting, but they're also producing that electrosmog. Now, really, the last question, and I'm not going to go into it too deeply, but this slide is this slide is to show the many different ways of actually communicating and how we communicate as human beings, including how we speak, how we present our space, how we touch each other, chronemics. I mean, how we use our time, how we draw attention to ourselves. You name it. I'm sure there are many different senses. There are many different ways of communicating, and for me, this presentation tonight has been a part of that, which is trying to show the nesting. It definitely is that we as individuals nested within the pod. For me personally, nested within collective families and community, and so it goes out with the Russian doll nesting. Does it not?
Nice.
Um, so learning to question our dreaming selves, that's the first step. And then to also to be able to communicate those responses, that is also a vital part of the process, because it stimulates our bodies to transform and evolve into what I call dream weavers, where our dreams themselves become self-aware. So we
Wow.
are literally dreaming ourselves awake. So, I think that's it. What a bit of a whirlwind journey. And thank you, deep gratitude to all of our ancestors and those who've surfed the waves before us, and to the veterans and Soul Pod 1 and 2 who voyage with me into infinity and beyond. Deep, deep gratitude. And to Dan Winter, who brings us so elegantly to the threshold. Thank you, Dan. Gratitude.
Well, Jenny, I have a question for you, actually. Um, it, it might even be somewhere in the range of envy. See, when we have a kind of a group meditation going, group dreaming, call it whatever you like, but some people have the skill to be able to feel and see where the group is going. And I don't think I have much of that skill, actually. I wonder if Jenny could say even a little bit about what it is to be able to sense where a group is going collectively during a dream or a meditation, or
Oh, good.
how to feel that.
Oh, yes, good pithy question there. Can we just hold that for 2 seconds?
Oh, sure.
Because I just want to come out of the slideshow and so I can see everyone's faces. So we finally an onboarding course for those interested in dreaming and voyaging with us, or those who are content to be what we call ground crew with a general interest and want to support in that way. And heartfelt thanks to those who came on board last year and have been patiently waiting and holding the space for the group to emerge. So there is an invite link, worldwidewave.earth, and
Oh, that's right. So we should add that to the sites here, worldwidewave.earth. That's a way of coming in. Is that right then, Jenny?
It
Great.
is, and it's just the front page at the moment, but you can subscribe and leave your emails. And
Wonderful. We'll add the link. Perfect.
well, yes, we'll get you into we have a Telegram group, and we'll take it from there. And as the last slide, here's some great some great books. But once again, instead of having to scribble them all down, you can see that we can see this slideshow again, can we not?
Yes, so we're going to share this, if that's okay. Yes, we'll share it. Next to the link for the film for tonight, we'll put this link for the slideshow, if that's okay, Jenny. Good.
Yes, that's perfectly fine. And there is a PDF. And you can also get a transcription from YouTube, can you not?
Yes, exactly. Coming soon to a theater near you.
Yes. So thanks everyone. I'm sorry I couldn't see your faces, and I'm looking now and I'm seeing pod 1 and 2. Like, yes, all your lovely faces. Thank you everyone. And for those who want more information, please get in touch with us. So yeah, to answer your question, and we'll also look at other questions, shall we, as well?
Jen, Jane Hera asks if you can say a little more about the role of ground crew.
The role of ground crew. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit. I'll try and answer Dan's question as well. What it means to what I call myself a navigator. I'm very fortunate that my boot camp occurred with 3 amazing Aboriginal aunties who adopted us, and this is the tribe that Dan and Valerie are also adopted into. Now, my awakening was very, very practical in that during my training, Auntie Lorraine took me on as her apprentice and taught me. And what they would do, quite literally, how I came awake, is that they would walk into my dreams. This is how I came awake in my dreaming. lucidly. So I had a steep learning curve in that they would come into my dream and I'd just be dreaming, maybe even not even noticing that I was. But the very act of them coming in and me going, that it gave my biology the jolt, the shock, if you like. So they would walk into my dreams and say, come on, girlie, you know, and then it would be a nighttime of teaching those geomancy, custodianship, what it means to be a part of the planetary grid. So I've been very fortunate. Now I'm, so from my navigator skills are definitely a part of that, which is that I had the fast track to being woken up into my own lucid dreaming. I also come from a very psycho-creative cultures, the Celtic culture, both Scots and Irish ancestry, who are very connected to the cosmologies of the star lanes and traveling as well. So how I navigate, very, very difficult one to answer. Because it's both an inner seeing and an outer seeing, and then also seeing for everybody else. So it's an amalgamation of forces, energy, training, bloodlines, and that's about as much as I can say, Dan. Is that an answer?
Well, God, you're beautiful, Jenny. This has been just so much more amazing than I even expected, Jenny. Good work.
Right. So thank you. Jane Hera, what it means to be a ground crew. Well, you can have a general interest in lucid dreaming itself. You may not feel that you want to journey, or you may not feel that you are what we call sky crew, as in those who are regularly practicing, pushing the boundaries of our human self-understanding, and bringing that knowledge back as in serious research. We do serious research on the edge of the science of consciousness in much the same way as, John Lilly and the psychotropic pioneers, as I call them getting out there. We are doing exactly the same thing. Dan's physics literally is the focus that brings us to the threshold over which we can then move out expand into the wider array. So this is serious work. If you wish to if you have a general interest, we're not so much into dream interpretation. We're actually living our dream more than interpreting them. You can help out in whatever way you want, or just do the reading. So hopefully the onboarding course will be putting a lot of literature in. And one of the other things, make sure you come to FractalU and the conference. That's a really good way to be ground crew as well.
Giving new meaning, perhaps, the term living the dream.
Absolutely. Thank you. Living the dream. Yeah, two fans. So, have we got any more?
Another question is, do you have some system or literature for interpretation of dream characters and objects?
So sorry for laughing. Yes, I mean that will be included. However, this is not something that I am an expert in myself. Yes, I can certainly pass on material. However, I don't know. There must be other people who are very good with the Jungian, the psychotherapeutic side of dreams in that way as well.
Thank you. Laura asks, can we tune in at a certain time and day without Wi-Fi and with TerraFi?
Mm-hmm. We do have, I don't know if Maurizio is here. We do have a TerraFi practitioner. He's in Costa Rica. And part of our research plans, is actually to be journeying regularly with the TerraFi as well, because as we know, the TerraFi enables intercommunication with transdimensional beings. We're very careful with what we do. So yes, I'd say technically it's possible. What do you reckon, Dan?
Therify is one, maybe a bit artificial, but powerful and useful. The global meditations we did with it were maybe even a little bit too powerful sometimes. But I would stress that it isn't about needing a gadget either. It's a wonderful thing. But even the sunrise sunset thing and the equinox solstice is beautiful and powerful in embedding in longitudinal arrays together.
Could we try a short lucid meditation here? Ajda asks.
I don't know. Is that Anya?
Ajda.
Oh, sorry. Yes. I mean, yes, of course we could. Couldn't we? Everybody. I think it's everybody. If everyone goes, yes, of course we can do that, then obviously we can do it. So probably, if you would like to join in, probably what we can do is, is that all right, Dan? Have we got time? Oh, it's only 8:06. Okay, so those are pod 1. I haven't looked through us all. So pod 1 and 2, those who are here, I absolutely respect their privacy. What we can do is sync up. First of all, pod 1. We can do that. You don't have to reveal who you are if you don't want to, but also if you want to share something as well. Anyone from pod 1 or 2. Do feel. So at the moment, what we're doing is we're going to focus on gratitude as a waveguide. How about that? Because the gratitude for us being able to be here at FractalU and all together, because collectively we are creating coherence, are we not? So first of all, if that's okay with pod 1, anybody from
Hi,
pod
Jen.
1 want to say? Hey.
Do you listen to me?
I can hear you.
So I love when Dan says that we are electrical fields that become intelligent, and he is doing a great job explaining us what that geometry works. I'm very interested in the geometry of the fields to understand how we become intelligent. So the work that you do with him, with your experience, and you seeing yourself the fields that we don't see, but obviously is all what it is. It's wonderful, and your courage to work this at the right time, and your discipline to be precise in something that is so important, to be close to pure principle, as Dan says, is wonderful, it's inspiring, and your work is literally evolutionary. So hopefully we can all together help you move forward this, because it's wonderful, your job, and I'm so happy to be part. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you, Nico.
Thank you, Nico. Okay. So we're focused on gratitude. We'll do a short, what we call the inner smile, in order to synchronize, and we start our journey every week with this. Is that all right, pod 1? Well, I just take it that it's all right, pod 1 and 2, and everyone who wants to join in. So this is a Taoist meditation in which we are starting to learn and starting to focus our attention inside to be able to open our inner eyes and open the eyes of the heart and the third eye as well. So if you just get comfortable, shut your eyes, and all we're going to do is smile. Smile with your eyes shut. I'll probably keep my own open to keep an eye on you all. And what you're doing is, the Taoist technique is in order to generate charge and to recharge the organs and the systems internally. And so smile into your heart and feel that gratitude of us, of being all together here. Take some good breaths. Remember to breathe. Breathe into your heart. Okay, pod 1, we're coming into a sync now. There we go, very strong. You may feel tingles. My hair is very powerful as my hair standing up on end. So continue to focus on the wave guide of gratitude that we're all going to surf that long wave. Smiling into our hearts, and then occasionally open your eyes and look at all the other beautiful people on the screen. There's Daniel. And then shut your eyes again. Now, when we shut our outer eyes, it opens the inner eye, and I know that it puts us into wonderful alpha frequency resonance. Takes us out of the external, what I call mundane reality. Anyone in pod 1, anyone who would like to voice some impressions, please do, about what you're feeling. At the moment, we are holding a very stable sync, and it's not just pod 1, it's all our other friends as well. Anyone from pod 1 or 2 want to put some impressions in, please?
This is
Yes,
Maura.
Jen.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead,
Go
Maura.
ahead.
You go ahead.
I was just gonna say really quickly that I feel a lot of charge, a lot of energy, and it's very powerful and very focused. Definitely feeling it and feeling like the density of having more people in the group.
Yes, and I'm feeling a beautiful conjugation of the wave energy, and I'm seeing it in my mind's eye as waves forming up in the ocean, very gently, and then lapping over. Yeah, a very thick, dense, and beautiful, liquidy feeling.
Thanks, Michelle.
Yes.
There's a slight the density of plasma, we're starting to identify different spins, which we might call density, and one of those we're calling honey plasma. Yes, so there's a sense of a sort of a delicious warmness, and slightly more viscous than water, a bit like runny honey, very golden, and this is what we call the honey plasma healing spin that we use very well. It is around us a lot, is it not? Pod 1 and 2. So bathe in the honey plasma and feel the gratitude. Okay, so keep bathing in it. Any more questions, Tufan, while we're bathing in the glow?
Sure. Brittany asks if we can strengthen, practice, and train to lucid dream with the team.
Can you? Yes, most certainly. We'll put up the subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Leave your emails, and we will send you a link to the Telegram group chat at the moment, and also those. Let's say we're getting a course together, so whereby we're bringing people on board, helping you to know, what you want to be. Basically, we have all sorts from all around the planet. We mostly work there's half men, half women. Those who are identifying that gender. And there's a lot of an incredible wholeness of and coherence of balance between the genders. So we have warriors and healers, bards, we have ground crew, those who want to be just really grounded holding space in that way. We have the seers and navigators. So there's plenty to learn.
Bob Sean said, do you know any practical tips to achieve lucidity in dreams other than setting the attention before dreaming and looking at your hands in the dream? Remember that when you look at your hand in a dream, what you're doing is doing the homunculus do loop is tightening, and so your aura is compressing. And so setting the intention and keeping the dream journal every day, everything that makes the focus more dense. I just remember when Jenny and I started this, actually, one of the things we knew was that the planet collectively needs the immune system of having lucid dreaming teams, which can eventually function as a kind of immune system for the planet in terms of interstellar parasites and many things. And tornado steerers, it's an important function.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, I don't think I've used the word shaman very much, but obviously what we understand as shamanic qualities and capabilities are those that we are developing as well. So to be of use to our communities and collectively as well. So yes, as Dan's saying, dream journaling. I would suggest the first thing that you do is you ask yourself the question, why do I want to see? Why? And then what do I want to see? And you take those into your night dreaming, and those questions, by setting the intention and the focus of those questions, you will be woken up with the answers. Sit up, write them down immediately, and do that for at least 30 days, because we know that it takes 30 days for our brains to change our minds, literally. And it does mean that your life is going to change, because big dreams change lives. We start small and we work up in that way.
Beautiful, beautiful, wonderful.
We have some questions on the YouTube live stream. Maybe we can go over a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is a DMT trip the same as a lucid dream?
So, we think that DMT adds to the threshold of connectivity at the synapse, and so it kind of opens some doors. But if you rely on external chemistry, sometimes there are other issues like holes in the aura. So it's not really our expertise. My expertise is the external chemistry, and certainly there's a place for that, and it's real. But if you can achieve it naturally, obviously, it's probably more empowering.
Well, because it is released naturally, is it not? And certainly during journey times, it is. I know that it is released. It's not something that we don't use external augmentation of any sort, either etheric or plant-based, mechanical, whatever. So no, I would say it's not the same.
Right. Can lucid dreaming lead to out-of-body experience if you want it, or is it necessary to stay in the dream?
I most definitely will trigger out of body responses and reactions. Yes, so part of what we're doing is with setting our intention and staying safe, being able to self-reference, to have the highest integrity, so that we don't end up with low spin, in astral low spin realms and entities, to keep your astral hygiene very, very high. But yes, it will trigger out of body, what we call excorporeal excursion, EE. It will definitely trigger that. Yeah.
And we think that even Monroe Institute, they were using golden ratio cascades in the brainwave, and that implosion in part can be that tornado that enables the tornado to move out of the body. And so recognizing that it's the densification that allows something coherent enough that the tornado can move outside your head. And then there's a whole series of hygiene issues around that, like don't try to do it in an aluminum box.
Or after you've been drinking alcohol, yes, particularly, or taking any sort of drugs or medication, pharmaceutical.
Okay.
So,
Okay. This question comes to Dan, to one of Dan's comments in the first half of this lecture. Is the fractal overlay tied together via the energy array?
The energy array.
Yes, I think you were referring to the fractal overlay of the galaxy and the planet and the energy grid, I believe.
Yes. So what we're saying is that as Bearden proved, the longitudinal EMF is what gravity waves are made of. So when you spectrum analyze and you find lower and lower frequencies present, you're finding longer wave and literally bigger maps. And it is embedding, and it is an array on a side, an array. But this is more than a metaphor. It will show up in a spectrum analysis. And that fractality perfected is what makes density increase, and that's what increases the leverage to steer bigger tornadoes. So these are more than metaphors. This is serious electrical engineering available by spectrum analysis. We know what the next dimension is. It's not subjective.
We're definitely going to have lots of fun at the conference, are we not? When toys come together with the Lucid Dreaming team.
Yes, we do some brainwave work.
We're going to have fun.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Okay. What could one do if they have a trust issue, but they would want to join the Lucid Dream pod?
Well, thanks for being open with it. I think that's what the first step is sharing that. If someone has trust issues, I think that's a very intimate thing to share. So thank you for sharing it. And of course, we respect privacy. We work with it as best we can.
And
if
when
you
we
think about it, everyone has trust issues to do with intimacy, which is stating our boundaries and then being compassionate towards others as well.
That's why we need to kind of fall in love with each other first, or at least cry for each other.
Shall we wrap up now? Have we got more questions? So it's 8:25. For me it's 8:25. How are we doing?
We have cleared all questions. We are good to go.
It's a happily ever after.
Yes.
It's wonderful. So we're just finishing up, as in, imagine yourself coming back into your heart and waving everybody hello and goodbye, and then we'll all be regrounded. And make sure, keep clearing, keep grounding, drink lots of water. Happy to journey with you all. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Jenny. This has been magical. Thank you, everyone. It really felt like community today. We had such fun.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. You. Blessings and blessings.
Bye, everyone.
Blessings, everyone.
Love everyone.
Thank you.
See you in the dream.
Harry says it's about love. I think he's right. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.